My name is Rick Lewis. I'm with Phenom Hoop Report, and on today's Coach's Corner, I have Coach Anthony Atkinson from Wilson Prep. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you again. Coach, you played for Rob Salter in 2003 at Greenfield, and then you got a scholarship to play at Campbell College for 2 years, and then shortly afterwards, you transferred from Campbell to Barton College. What was the thought process of going from a D1 program going down to a D2 situation?
I think for me, because a lot of people didn't even know, like I was getting a lot of playing time when I was at Campbell. I was actually our freshman of the year, my freshman year there. And then sophomore year, I kind of lost my way because the coach that was there, he actually didn't recruit me. So he was, he wasn't a coach that recruited me. Billy Lee actually recruited me, and Robbie Lane had came in and took over Billy Lee my freshman year. And the sophomore year, just kind of like our relationship, I think it kind of came to its end. And me personally, I got kind of like depressed because I felt like he didn't want me to be there anymore, and I didn't feel like I was fitting in the program anymore. So for me, it was kind of like I went through this spiral of depression. I stopped going to class and everything like that. And I called my dad one day and I said I need to change of environment. And he said, well, let's think about it and let's think of some schools you might want to go to. And my coach Rob Salter actually reached back out to me because I talked to him too. And he said, well, how about Barton? Come on to Barton. He said, I know it's not D1, but, they're still, pretty well respect on the D2 level. And I think you can come back home and, get yourself together and do some big things. So that was kind of like the thought process. I just need to come back home, get my foundation back, rooted and grounded where I started and feel the love for my fans and my family and things of that sort. So coming back home was a big turnaround for me in my life.
And a lot of people don't understand how competitive D2 is.
Right.
Talk about the difference between D2 and D1. For a lot of listeners out there, they don't understand that D2, it's competitive. And you know what? A lot of these teams are just as good as the lower tier D1 schools.
Oh, well, that's exactly right. Because honestly, when I went back to D2 at Barton, they had a lot of D1 transfers like myself that come in my same year that I came in. And we went there and we actually played Division I schools in scrimmage and exhibitions before our actual regular season started. And we beat Liberty. We lost to Old Dominion by like 10, and we lost to William Mary by like 6. So we were very competitive even against Division I talent. And then even after I left, they went on to play Duke and Carolina and things like that. But I tell my kids and the other kids nowadays, there's not much parity between the D2 and the Division I level because nowadays kids are going to where more so they can play and what kind of system they're going to fit in. So that's what I would tell a kid now. If you can go somewhere and it's a respected Division II program, you look out here today, a lot of Division IIs are competing with Division I.
No question, Coach. And if you look at the landscape in North Carolina, look at the quality number of D2 schools, whether it's Barton, Mount Olive, you got UNC Pembroke, you got Queens, you got Catawba, Mars Hill, Leeds McRae. And you know what? There's a lot of D1 teams that will be very hesitant to schedule D2 programs.
That's exactly right. And actually, my senior year there, the Carolina and the Dukes, they wouldn't play us my senior year because we were well known and well respected. But then after our class left, after we won the national championship, they started playing us after that. But I don't think they were just scared. But it kind of is scary for Division I if a Division II comes in and whoops you on your home court. So, it's like I said, it's not. I don't. The only difference I would say between Division I and Division II right now, maybe the level of athleticism of kids, and just maybe height and strength, because a lot of Division II programs don't have the same strength and conditioning program that a lot of Division I's have. So,
talk about your success at Barton those final 2 years.
Oh man, well we came and we set all type of records, and my junior year there, we went to the regional, won the conference tournament, won the conference, went to the regionals, actually hosted the regional here in Wilson, and it brought a lot of notoriety to our city and our school. And we went to the Elite Eight, and we ended up losing to Winona State my junior year. So then the next year, my senior year, we actually came back and ran the table again in the conference, won the conference tournament. And then in the regional, we hosted the regional again, and we won the regional, went to the Elite Eight, and we ended up winning the national championship against Winona State, who one of the greatest games to go down in NCAA history, where I scored 10 points in 45 seconds. So
I've seen that video YouTube clip. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was it's probably one of the best days of my life.
So for you personally, Coach, going from a Division I to school, going down to a Division II, it was a blessing in disguise.
It really was. It really was. It showed me, and I think that's when my eyes opened then that, basketball is basketball everywhere.
Right.
Kids can play on every level. It doesn't matter if it's Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA. You have guys out here that can play. And I mean, I ran into a lot of guys from Division II level in that Elite Eight tournament in Massachusetts that went on to play in the NBA. And then I myself went on to play, with the Harlem Globetrotters. So, there's talent everywhere. It's all about how much work you put in. And when your opportunity comes, are you ready for it?
Well, that game where you scored, 10 points in the last, minute of the game or less has to
Right.
be one of the most remarkable performances at any level.
Right, right. I mean, it's crazy because when I was playing with the Globetrotters, we went back there in Springfield, Massachusetts, like 8 years later, and people still remembered it. And they said
Right.
it's still hands down the best game I've ever seen, Division I, Division II, anything. And I remember when we were watching, some people showed me a clip when we went to a restaurant to eat after we won the national championship. And they were saying how the commentators, they were trying to go to the Division I NCAA tournament. They was like, we want to stay there and see the aftermath of the game. It was so much respect. And not only did it put, I think, my school and my city on the map, but it kind of put Division II basketball on the map. Like, these guys can really play down here. So it was a huge, huge, event in my life, and it's something that I never ever forget.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, after you graduated from Barton, you spent 12 years with the Globetrotters.
Right.
How did you get involved with them?
I was actually, wanting to go and try out for some NBA teams and try out maybe for some overseas teams. And I remember, it wasn't working out how I wanted to. So I was in the gym one night getting up shots with me and my father, and my sports information director from Barton came in, John Hackney. And he told me, looked me in my eye, he said, "You'll never believe who reached out to me." And I said, "Who?" He said, "The Harlem Globetrotters." He said, "They want you to come down and, put you through a tryout, interview process, see what it's all about." I said, "Okay, so when do I leave?" He said, "They're flying you out next week to Houston." So I went to Houston and had a great tryout. I mean, I in the little scrimmage game, I think we played like 20 minutes to that score, like 21 points in 20 minutes. And then afterwards, they were asking me like, can you do any tricks? And the only tricks I could do was spin the ball on my finger, which I learned from Pistol Pete Maravich's moves when I was smaller with my dad. And I told him, I said, the one thing I can do, I can put the ball in the hoop. I can smile. I know how to treat people the right way. They said, "Well, we want you to come be with the Globetrotters." And they gave me a contract right on the spot. And I was with them for 12 amazing years. And it was probably, a very humbling, but also a blessing because I got to travel the world for free. I played in every NBA arena there is, every famous arena there is. The people that I met like Pope Francis and Barack Obama and all these different celebrities, and not only that, but to play in front of people and to give them joy every night, knowing that some people just come to the game just to laugh. It really made a difference in my life, and it's things that I take now coming back as a coach. I'm very, very appreciative of, and I tell my guys, don't take this for granted because it can be taken away from
The entertainment factor and the joy you see on young kids' faces when you're playing. And you said you got to travel the entire world over and you got a lot of great experience. What would you say would be the single most memorable moment you had with the Globetrotters?
them. That's tough. I could say three. That's like
Okay.
pretty much right up there together. I would say number one, meeting Pope Francis. That was, I mean, who goes to meet the Pope?
Right.
I mean, just that whole day was crazy. Going into Vatican City, seeing all the people, and then he come. Normally, when the Pope get done with his speech, he goes down to the sick, and the security guards saw him making a beeline straight to us, and he came over, and the first word out of his mouth to us was, "Pray for me." And I'm like, "Man, you're the Pope. Like, I want to ask you to pray for me," but it
Wow.
showed you like, he was human too.
How
And
humble.
right. And it was an amazing experience being there. Number two would probably be meeting Barack Obama. That was awesome. I mean, just being in his presence, seeing how calm, cool, and collected he was. That was, he was such a down to earth guy. And you see why so many people love him and like him and miss him. And then number three would be the night in Cardiff, England. Cardiff, London, when I hit 93 points in a basketball game. I actually hit. We had innovated a shot called a 4-point shot, and I actually made 22 4-points that night. So that would probably be my 3 most, memorable moments with the Globetrotters.
Well, President Obama is a basketball fan. Did you get a chance to play any one-on-one with him?
We actually did. We actually played with him a little bit, and we had some kids on the floor, so he was scrimmaging with them, and he shot some free throws, and when he made the free throws, he had to go down and do some push-ups. So he was a good sport about it.
He's a southpaw, isn't he?
He is. He is a southpaw.
Has a pretty good touch, huh?
He does. He can play. He really can. I mean, but he told us that's how he stay in shape. He calls all his guys in, and they play some pickup ball here or there. So
I think that would be one that, the Pope is naturally but having a chance to meet President Obama would have to be up there because his personality is smile and
right.
How you just see him no matter where he is. He just has an infectious smile on everybody, and everybody just gravitates. Great experiences that you've had with the Globetrotters there.
Yes, sir.
What was a typical season like? I mean, how many games did you play? Where did you play at? And the opponents?
Well, we played 225 games a season.
225?
225. We will play pretty much every day during the week. And on the weekend, sometimes we play doubleheaders on a Saturday. So you're looking at about, 8 games in a week span sometimes. And out of the year, we traveled about 7 to 8 months out of the year. So it was a lot of time away from my family. We played the Washington Generals every night because it was more of an entertainment value. But a lot of people, that's how they recognize the Globetrotters with the Washington Generals and such. So we played them, and the travel, it was hectic. When you would wake up, probably about 8 o'clock in the morning, travel to the next city, take about 3-4 hours. We had our own tour bus, and sometimes we had to fly. Get to the next city about 12 or 1, go in the hotel, lay down, get yourself together, get some lunch, talk with the teammates a little bit, and then at 3 o'clock, 3:30, you at the gym, practicing, getting up shots, doing whatever you need to do, getting your mind ready for the game. 5:30, doors were open. We had what we call Magic Pass, where kids and parents would play, and families would pay a special price to come in and just get like an individual one-on-one time with the Globetrotters. And then at 7 o'clock, it would be showtime.
Wow.
Play for about 2 hours, 9 o'clock, 9:30. Got an autograph session after every game had an autograph session. 10 o'clock, heading back to the hotel, go get something to eat, lay down, go to sleep, wake up, do it all over again the next day.
What were some of the most fascinating cities you got to travel to?
I love Italy. I loved Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I would say out of all my favorites was probably Brazil. Brazil was, because we stayed there for a week, and some of the games actually got canceled, and because something had happened there, and we just stayed on the beach for a whole week, and to walk up and down and eat, fresh fish out of the water and meet and mingle with the people, it was a fun week to be in Brazil. It really was.
Did the travel ever get old?
Oh yeah, towards about around. When I had my first son, it wasn't so bad. I had my first son, and he's 9 now, so I had him about 3 or 4 years into it. But when I had my second son, that's when it kind of took its toll on me, because I realized I was missing a lot of precious time at home with my wife and my 2 boys, and I knew it was time for me to start searching for something that I wanted to do.
Now, in 2019, you returned home to Wilson, and you became the coach at Wilson Prep.
Right.
Was that the major reason coming back to Wilson was to spend family time?
Oh yeah, that was number one. Family is always number one, on my list whenever I, do anything, and take into consideration anything, because they're who I do it for. And, I had made a good amount of money, and I saved. I was smart. And so I said, you know what? It's time for me to do something else. And I actually coached AAU ball in the summer, so I knew coaching was my passion. I knew I was going to do something with the game of basketball. So coming home and, Wilson Prep gave me the job here. They were number one, but number two, and the second reason was very important as well. Our kids here in Wilson needed it. They needed a coach to come back, besides Rob Sauter over at Greenfield, who does a great job. They needed, somebody like myself to come back and, give them something positive, so to speak, that, somebody that's been through it before and also can show them the right way and give them a great role model to look up to, so to
Right.
speak. And just really show them how to be successful in life and things like that, because our kids did not have it here and they struggle a lot of times. I didn't want to hear them, say, well, I don't know how to make it. And me being already, experienced through everything, I wanted them to see, you guys can make it too. And that one way I could do it was coming back and coaching here at Wilson Prep.
Now, is Wilson Prep a public charter school?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, your first season, you went 18-8. What was the biggest challenges you faced now being a head coach? Because this is your first coaching gig.
Right. I think the biggest challenge to me, honestly, as a young coach coming to the game, was just knowing how to relate to the players. Because you hear a lot of people say that this generation is different from other generations before. And they are, but also at the same time, the number one thing we try to instill with my program, number one, is discipline. And if you have discipline, that goes a long way. And it teaches kids that, this is how we're going to do things and where the bar is set. And, for me to come back, and like I said, these kids were excited. I didn't want to let them down, so to speak, because so many of them look up to me, and especially, my history and everything that I've done with the game of basketball. So I think, it was a lot of pressure, but also at the same time, it was something that I embraced. And, I love a challenge. I always love a challenge. But I think just relating to the kids, and also at the same time, staying consistent throughout the whole year with everything. Because, you go through so many ups and downs in a season. So.
Now, what lessons did you learn from a Globetrotter that helped you prepare yourself as a head coach?
I think number one was consistency. Stay consistent in everything that I do. If I say I'm gonna do something, do it. If in practice, we go over this, we drill defense and going through everything. So I just wanted to make sure that we stay consistent throughout the whole entire year. Also, another thing would be hard work and everything like that. Hard work and whatever I do, teaching the guys that I can't coach you in effort. I can't coach you in energy, but I can show you the X's and the O's. But you have to bring the energy and effort every night. So those are some of the things, especially being with the Globetrotters, because there are nights that you don't want to, I'm not going to say you don't want to be out on the court, but your body might be tired. And
Right.
You got to go out there and you got to suck it up for the betterment of the people who paid their money to see you play. And in one of my speeches, I actually told my guys this year, I told them, I said, people pay money to see you guys play basketball. It's almost like the Globetrotters. People pay their hard-earned money to come in and see you put on the show. So when you come in here, just know that, people want to see you play well and play hard and play the right way every night.
Now, what was the biggest challenge you had in your first year coaching?
I think the biggest challenge, honestly, was just, a lot of these kids in this area haven't been taught the fundamentals, so to speak. They, a lot of, not knocking any programs, but a lot of the coaches from past and present have just kind of thrown the balls out there and said, all right, let's go hoop. And that's what these kids know. And, I come in and I'm teaching them the fundamentals and I'm teaching them how to play help side defense the right way and all these different things the right way. And for a while, they struggled with it because they were like, why are we doing this every day and everything like that? So I think for me, it was, that aspect of it and just letting them know, like, this is how you play basketball. If you want to get to the next level, this is what you have to do and things like that. So they're seeing it now, and some of these guys are reaping the benefits because they're seeing college coaches reach out to them and show interest into them. And they were like, I never got this type of interest before. I said, when you play basketball at a high level, college coaches, they're looking for guys, not just everybody can go out and score 30 points. They want guys
that
to
can defend.
Exactly. They want guys that can defend. They want guys that can rebound the ball. They want guys that are team players. And I think with this generation, that's what we have to get back to, teaching them how to play basketball the right way and just trying to go out here and everybody score 30 points. Everybody is not blessed to have that skill.
Well, I've also, talked to a lot of coaches, and there's a saying that goes around that that you will play at the level you defend.
Right.
And, talking to college coaches, and I'm sure you do too,
Mm-hmm.
one of the main questions is who can defend?
Right.
I mean,
That's actually, I was talking to a college coach last week, I think, and the first thing out of his mouth was, how's his defense? Can he defend multiple positions?
right.
Every possession, is he locked into it and everything like that? And thank God the guy I was talking about, he can do it, and because he's rangy, he can guard 1 through 5, and so it benefits him because now they see you as more valuable, so to speak, when you're on the next level. So.
You graduated in 2003 in this short period of time. How do you think the game has changed when you played and now as you're coaching?
Oh man, wow. Back when I played at Greenfield in 2003, graduating from Greenfield, the game, it was different. It was different. The little things that kids nowadays take for granted. Like we were state champions twice at Greenfield. And we had guys that, kind of like Dennis Rodman, they wouldn't score a basket the whole game, but they would go take a charge. They would go get rebounds. They would go dive on the floor for a ball. And those were their roles on the team. And nowadays you see a lot of kids that don't want to do the dirty stuff. They don't want to do the necessities of what it takes to be a championship team. But I also see, the difference in just the culture change, so to speak. You see a lot of kids like back when I came up, I was in the same class as, Chris Paul and people like that. And I like Chris Paul as a guy, as a human, but I didn't, so to speak, I guess you can say kind of worship the ground he walked on. You see some of these kids nowadays, they have, that same, classmates where they'll post their highlights more than they post their own highlights, opposed to more their own teammate highlights. And I think when you do that, if you say you play somebody like that, they already have the advantage over. So I think the mentality of kids nowadays is different. The
Right.
mentality, the competition, the competing factor of everything, it is way different. Like I'm a competitor even when I'm at home with my kids. I don't want my kids to beat me at anything. And I think, the competitive edge is what's different now. I watch The Last Dance, and when I think about Michael Jordan and what they talk about the difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron and all these people like this, even though they're all great basketball players in their own right, Michael Jordan's competitive nature separated him from everybody else in my mind. And I think that's the same thing that's going on with, this generation now versus how basketball was back when I played.
Now, Coach, you had a really good record last year. You went 18-8. You returned the majority of your lineup. I think you returned 10 players that played last year. But you have two really good players that had the opportunity to play at the Division I level. You got 6'9" junior Eric Nguyen, who almost averaged a double-double. He averaged 17 points a game, 9 rebounds. Talk about Eric.
Eric is a stud. Eric is he's a one of a kind for his size. I think you're not going to find many 6'9" guys that can, they can come. He can come down and run our offense. He's one of the best ball handlers on our team, and I think that's what causes so many problems for other teams because he just can't post. He just doesn't post up. He doesn't just rely on his post up ability. He can turn and face. He can take you outside and knock down the 3 ball. He can come down and break you down off the dribble. He defends, he rebounds, and he's honestly, he's a very underrated leader as well. The guys look up to him, and he's very coachable, and I love everything about Eric. And he'll turn a lot of heads this year. People don't know him. To me, he's the best big in the state. That's my honest opinion about Eric. That's me. But other people's eyes, I know they have other opinions, but he'll give any big or anybody that's a player in his class a run for them.
Now, another junior you have is Nazeer Blackman. He averaged 16 points and I think around 7 rebounds a game.
Right.
Talk about his game.
Nazeer is actually the kid that I was talking about that can guard a 1 through a 5. He's very rangy. He's very freakishly athletic. And I mean, he runs the floor like a deer. I gave each of my players an evaluation. The one thing I told Nazeer that kind of held him back from having even, a bit higher point average this year, if he can work on his outside shot, which he has been doing and getting more consistent, he's going to be unguardable. And he's very active on the boards. He plays the passing lanes really well. And he's a great on-ball defender as well. And he was actually one of my captains this year, along with Eric. So I'm looking for great things from him next year. We're going to be exciting to watch. We really are.
For the people listening that haven't seen your team play, give us a Reader's Digest version on a Coach Atkinson coach team.
Well, I kind of, model myself, and I study Shaka Smart and Rick Pitino. I love pressing. I love getting up and down the floor. And, Shaka Smart had what he called havoc at VCU, and we have what we call chaos at Wilson Prep. We try to create total chaos on the defensive end for the offensive team that we play against. And by the end of the game, you're worn down mentally, physically, and emotionally. And then that's when, we just put our foot on your throats and we try to, take control of the game. But we're going to play hard. We're going to play smart. We're going to play together. And it's going to be an exciting brand of basketball. I mean, because we have a lot of athletes and we have a lot of guys that can shoot it. And, we get up and down. We do. We get after you. We're going to compete every play. That's the motto that we say in practice: compete every play. Not some plays, compete every play. And we're instilling that. And they're taking on my mode and everything, and my mentality. And I'm getting to know them as well. And we're growing and things like that. So I guarantee you, we're going to be one of the top teams everybody's talking about next year.
Do you ever have any missed moments by being with the Globetrotters?
Oh man, of course I miss the fans, because that's why we all did it. The fans, and I think the second thing that I miss is the brotherhood. The brotherhood that we had with all my teammates, and we actually still stay in touch with one another, whether it be on group chat or we do have Zoom phone calls. But the camaraderie that we built riding the buses, riding the airplanes, late night when somebody might be struggling with not missing a family member, we'll be there for one another. It's things like that. People can take all the hook shots and underhanded half-court shots and all that stuff. They can take, all that stuff away. But the one thing you can't take is the time that we had with one another as brothers. That's one thing that I miss.
Well, let me ask you this, Coach. Do you and the teammates ever play horse together?
Nah, they won't play me in horse because they know I'm probably win. But they like to challenge me on one-on-one. They love to challenge me on one to see if I still got it. And I'm still undefeated, so I'm still standing in pretty good shape. Yeah.
Well, Coach, you have a remarkable story. You won 2 state championships as a player at Greenfield.
Mm-hmm.
You won a national championship for Barton in one of the most amazing games at any level at the NCAA level. It was just amazing.
Right.
You won a championship there. You spent 12 years with the Harlem Globetrotters. You have a wonderful story to tell. And I'm sure that the players in Wilson, North Carolina are very fortunate to have you as their mentor and also as the coach, providing the leadership that you provide. You have a brevity of life lessons that you can give these young men.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's what it's all about. What type of young man would I be, if I went out here and experienced all these great things and I don't come back and share them with, kids in my community, not just in my school, but the whole community. I want to see everybody make it, and my thing is God has blessed me and has put me on a platform to where my story can maybe help inspire somebody else to go and have their own success story. And in everything that I do, God gets the glory out of it. And at the end of the day, if you're doing that and you're doing everything for the right reason, you're going to have no choice but to be blessed.
Coach, it's been a pleasure having you on Coach's Corner today. And I just want to say thank you. We hope to come out and watch you in open gym, and we hope to see you at some of our Phenom events this coming season.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.